This just in, breaking news, our top story tonight. Round 2 of the Heads Up grudge match comes to a close with both players breaking even. This is normally where I put a catchy joke in, but given how many weeks I've been covering this story, I got nothing left. Also tonight, GG Poker raises their rake and the high stakes community is in outrage. My thoughts? Now that I own a card room and I've been thinking about it a little bit more, in some ways you could say that more rake is actual. Next up on Friday at the Hustler, 2 regs duked it out with Francisco the Pro and Wesley playing an 800 big blind pot in a single raised pot where aces managed to hold. An overpair holding for 400 big blinds. Good luck with that happening on another stream.
Call.
Sigh. In other news, a new format at the Lodge where players buy in for 1K and try and spin up a stack in a higher stakes game resulted in one of the more epic runs I've seen in a while. You know what they say, what goes up must work out well in the end. And finally tonight, I've got a bone to pick with WSOP because this is a pretty uncool thing they've been doing lately. They've been using my name and likeness to promote their new thing going on online. I'm gonna have to say, if you don't cease and desist immediately, I'm gonna have to get my attorneys involved. All of this and more tonight on Poker News by Doug Polk. Because the last name. Before we get going here, I want to give you guys a quick discount. This is one of the biggest discounts we've ever done, and we're only going to be doing it for 24 hours. But for the next 24 hours over on Upswing Poker, you can head on over and use code DOUG50 to get $50 off of your lab purchase in the Upswing Poker Lab. The Upswing Poker Lab is our subscription course, which features a small group of very talented coaches to walk you through how to play all forms of No Limit Hold'em. We've got cash game content, tournament content, and tons of play and explains, and over 90 modules you can choose from in order to improve your game. And of course, let's just say hypothetically you have a heads up grudge match in your near future. Well, we have some content when I played Daniel to break down the heads up game tree so you know exactly how to play against your heads up opponent. You never know these days when that might come in handy. Another cool aspect of the community is we have a Facebook group called the Upswing Poker Engage group with a couple thousand members who talk strategy very, very actively. I don't even know how many posts every day, people going back and forth, and some of our team pros weigh in to help answer your questions. If you're interested in a $50 discount off of the Upswing Poker Lab, you can check it out in the description below. One more thing before we get going here, I've decided I'm going to head down to the World Series of Poker this summer. I'm going to play at least a couple events depending on if my table draw is somewhat bearable. I've been playing more and more poker lately, getting the itch to kind of be in the mix, so looking forward to playing. Do you guys want me to vlog if I do that or not? Or would you rather me just produce news videos in the morning? Could kind of go both ways. I prefer this form of content, but I want to try and make sure that I make the best stuff you guys can enjoy. Either way, we'll be heading to Vegas for a little bit to play at least a couple events. I'm thinking the 25K heads up. What's wrong with a little heads up these days? Seems good to me. Okay, let's move on and get into our stories today. So let's kick it off with talking about this brief run-up from Marnie over on Poker at the Lodge. We have been trying out this new format where players buy in for 1,000 and they try and run up a stack. Usually it doesn't go well, and that's the point of the format. The stakes are much higher. Players will mainly bust. But sometimes people do get a little luck going, and in this particular instance, well, Marnie, she was a star.
Huge pot. 11K in the middle. She started with 1,000.
I don't want to.
Oh my God.
There's the club. The nuts on the turn. Marnie wins the first one.
She's gonna scoop me.
Oh, Jack! Oh my gosh.
Am I in heaven?
Wow.
She had some good fortune to run up the stack, but ultimately she did end up in a bad scenario.
Fuck it. I'm all in.
Oh no. No.
I mean,
I'm on the flush draw.
Oh, makes the call.
No. Oh my God.
I've never felt worse flopping trips for someone. Why am I even calling pre-flop? I almost was rooting for her to win. If you want to see that video, I'll put a link in the description below. You can check it out. Moving on, let's talk about this GG Poker raising the rake story. I had a lot of people reaching out, messaging me about this today. This is a big deal in the poker community. GG Poker is a site that has gotten incredibly large over the last few years. They have some massive big name ambassadors and really kind of took over a lot of the market share from PokerStars using some kind of aggressive models for getting people in the door. It's one of those sites where people tend to be a little bit more able to VPN or use back-end systems to play, but there's no doubt you can argue with the results and the success. The site has become massive. This is my understanding anyway. I have not played online poker much in several years. There's a post over on 2+2 called GG Poker Rake Massive Increase. As of today, the high stakes community will boycott 2550 plus games on GG Poker. 90% of the highest volume players of these stakes have already committed to the boycott. GG Rake historically has been far higher than the industry standard, but has gained a large amount of high stakes action due to game liquidity and the amount of recreational players playing on the network. Particularly at 2550, even with the old rake structure, there were a lot of unbeatable games and seats running. The new rake structure has almost doubled and will make the vast majority of 5K and 10K games impossible to beat and make any battling between professionals completely unfeasible. Emphasis on the fees, and not our fees, the table fees. Oh, it's like a Texas game. Here we see a chart comparison of the rake. Okay, so on stars we have 0.45 big blinds per 100. On ACR we have 0.47 big blinds per 100. On GG it was 4, and now it's over 7 big blinds per 100. I mean, what the hell is going on here? This is almost 14x the rake of these other games. This is completely insane. It was kind of insane before, but this is now taking it to a new level. 7 big blinds per 100. I mean, look, like if you're a good player in a game with a very small rake, you're going to beat it for 5 or 6 big blinds per 100. With 7, only the top possible guys are going to win, and you basically can't play unless there is a gigantic spot. This is getting into pretty crazy territory, but there will be an interesting equilibrium here. If GG Poker still gets wrecks, maybe a couple pros can make it out, but maybe they can't. The reality is, when the rake gets this high, everyone loses other than the site itself. Here at Poker News Productions, we reached out to some of the well-known figures in the scene for their thoughts on the raise.
Damn it, what the fuck is going on here?
Obviously, that's super fucking unethical.
It all come from the top.
Yeah.
We're running the company. Until now we start at 6, 7, 8, right?
So unfucking fair, man.
Strong words from the poker community, and rightly so. Here's the thing. When you offer poker, I do believe as an operator, you have an obligation to charge a fair rate. You can get away with more, and in some places you can say, what are you going to do about it? But I think maybe as a player, maybe this is idealistic of myself, I don't think we should just charge people as much as we can possibly charge them and what we can get away with. I think you should charge something that is a fair price to play poker. This is one of the reasons why we dropped our fees at the lodge in our tournaments about half a year ago or a year ago or so, because I want to make sure that in our games we offer a fair price to players. This is not a fair price. 7 big blinds per 100 is completely, absolutely insane. So I think there's an interesting spot here. PokerStars used to be the market leader. They kind of donked it off with the way they handled a lot of things. But this is PokerStars' chance to win it back. And I've got a perfect idea. PokerStars, if you're out there, if you're listening, I always liked you. In fact, give me one moment. Ugh. Still got it, baby. This is your chance, PokerStars, to retake the market and become the global leader for poker online once again. Now let me be your guiding light. Let me run the company. I'll do a great job, I promise. Got some good ideas for things we can do. I know GG's been beating you with superior advertising and being able to get recreational players in and caring about the players or whatever more, but this is your chance. They have 14x the rake. We can do this. Make me the CEO of the company. Probably don't do that, but if you did, I mean, we'd have some damn good content, I'll tell you what. Anyway, it remains to be seen how this will play out. My guess is that people will watch the games, and if they're soft enough, they'll still play, but it will probably put a dent in the high stakes volume. And I hope some other players emerge with some games that are better for everyone, because frankly, it's bad for poker when this much money is being taken by the operator. Moving on, let's go ahead and talk about this Airball Burks match. We got some battling going on. We got some hand histories in the streets. We're going to jump in and break some down. Our first hand begins 110,000 deep, once again at 200-400 with a $400 big blind ante. The action kicks off with Airball opening up to 1,200, Berkey 3-betting to 6,000, and Airball 4-betting to 16,000. Airball has pocket jacks here, red pocket jacks, and Berkey has ace diamonds, king of hearts. Berkey makes it 40,000 to go here. Kind of a weird pre-flop size, in my opinion, where you almost can't really bluff at this size. You put in 40K of your 110K. That makes me really dislike this size. I think you either just need to be jamming, calling, or making this more along the lines of 35K. It's tough. Tough, weird, awkward sizes. So I don't totally blame Burks for this, but I do think that this size means he can't bluff, and thus I think that it's not particularly great. Anyway, Airball decides to call. Seems okay. Don't hate shoving. You're not going to be folding jacks if you do 4-bet it. Call is reasonable. Flop comes king, queen, jack. King of clubs, queen of diamonds, jack of spades. Huge flop for Airball to start the session off. He faces a 10K bet on the flop, 10K into 80K. I don't really like this bet, actually. I think that Burks should mainly just be checking this flop. Not a great flop for him. And if he does bet, it should probably be slightly larger or a jam. But I do think in this particular instance, he should just be checking. I mean, what hands is he really beating at this point? He's beating like tens. I don't know how often tens is 4-betting. He's beating ace, queen, those types of hands, but really not that many hands that he's ahead of. So typically speaking, in this situation, you kind of want to pump the brakes a little bit. This is not a great flop for the 5-better. Although you do have some king, queen, king, jack. So, maybe you do get to bet small here with everything. I could go either way on the flop. Can't be that big of a mistake to bet small. Airball decides to go ahead and jam the flop. I wouldn't mind seeing a call. I could see both options being reasonable here. If you had a hand like pocket kings, you definitely want to just trap. It's so likely your opponent's bluffing. But with jacks, don't hate raise, don't hate call. He shipped it in, and Berkey calls. So we've got a cooler scenario here, $220,000 pot, getting ready to get shipped Airball's way. At this point, Berkey asks, can we run it twice? Airball, I believe, just laughs. I don't know. I actually don't know what he says. I assume he just said no. The turn's a brick, and the river is the 10 of diamonds, shipping it over to Berkey. Little luck out of the gate here for Burks. He takes an early lead, doubling up to 220,000. Another hand we have here, Airball 3-bets with the 9-8 of diamonds. I'm going to assume that the action goes Berkey makes 1,500, Airball makes 6,000, Berkey calls. Airball has 9-8 of diamonds. Berkey has the queen 9 suited. Let's just pick a suit because I don't know what it is. Flop comes queen 10-6, 2 hearts, 1 spade. Airball goes for the tricky check call, checks. Berkey bets 8,000. Airball goes for the check call. Turn deuce of hearts. Flush gets in. Check, check. River offsuit 6, and Airball bets 21K to 40K, and Berkey calls with queen 9. This seems pretty reasonable from both of them, actually. I don't mind this hand all around. Next big hand that happened, I think that the stack should be something like 300, 320K or so. Berkey opens it up, 1,500 to go, and Airball 3-bets the pocket kings. King of hearts, king of diamonds. Call. 883. I assume rainbow, but I'm not sure. Airball bets 4.1 thousand. Berkey makes it 15,000. Berkey calls. Turn is the 9. Check. Berkey bets 27.5 thousand. Airball calls. River goes check, check. It's the offsuit 5. And Berkey says that he has 10s. So, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Who really knows? Bit of a thin value bet here from Berkey. Definitely standard from Airball. And a big one getting shipped over to the Airball base camp. Our next big hand, I think the players are about 250K deep to start this hand. Berkey opens to 1K. Airball makes it 4K. Berkey makes it 16K. Airball calls with the 6-5 of hearts. Bit of a speculative pre-flop call here, but it can be okay as you get deep. The flop comes 8-3 deuce, 1 heart. So Airball flops a gutter to the nuts and the backdoor flush draw. Check. Berkey bets 15K. Airball goes check call. Could maybe once in a while mix and raise here, but I think this is a board you can play only check call pretty reasonably as you get very deep. Turn, things start to heat up. 6 of diamonds. Berkey now fires 40,000. Airball puts in the check call. We have a 100K pot going into the river. River, Airball gets there, but it's a dicey one. The 5 of clubs. Flush completes 4, makes a straight. Check, check. And Airball takes it down with his 2 pair. An interesting hand that didn't show down, so we don't know what either player had, but Airball opens the button to 1,200. Berkey calls the big blind. The flop comes king 10-4, 2 hearts, 1 club. Check 3,000 call. Turn deuce. Check 20,000 call. River 5, check 40,000. Tank fold. So no showdown there, but definitely an interesting one with some big bets getting put out here by Airball. Last big hand of the session. This is actually the biggest hand of the session, I believe. The action goes open. Berkey opens 1.5K. Airball 3 bets 8s to 6,000. Berkey 4 bets to 20,000. I think they have about 230K behind to start the hand. 250. Sorry, no. 260K to start the hand. The sizes are weird here, guys. Just bear with me. So anyway, Berkey makes it 20,000. Airball calls with the pocket 8s. 985. Airball gets there in a big way. Check, check. Turn 5. Check, check. River ace. Check. 60K. And Airball busts out the just about check min raise, making it 125K. Berkey goes for the tank call and gets shown the bad news. I'd really like to see a bigger bet here from Airball, and it's definitely reasonable for Berkey to bet call an ace here, so it's probably just a cooler scenario, but I think Airball's size is way too small. You should be shipping it in on this river. You got a boat, man. It's time to get paid. When you got boats and heads up no limit, you got to wager all those chips. Some pretty high-level strategy breakdowns here from the new CEO of PokerStars, the Stars Group. I'll be checking my email, Stars. I'll see you there soon. That concludes our breakdown of the Airball Berkey Challenge. Airball clawing back to even yesterday, now down $130,000. Today will be the last day of the first weekend of play. Of course, I will be back with updates and hand histories, so stay tuned. And make sure to head over to Upswing, code Doug50. You got 1 day to use it, guys. Jump in the Upswing group, the Engage group, the modules, learn about how to play heads up or ring or cash. Trust me, you're going to love it. Anyway, guys, I'll see you again tomorrow. Peace. Oh, shit, I just realized I didn't cover this Wesley Francisco hand. Well, let me give you the 2-second version. Wesley had aces, and a lot of bets went in. And there was check raising, and there was re-raising, and there was 3-betting, and there was jamming. And somehow, after all of the action, when it was all said and done, aces were still good. Don't try this at home, folks. Maybe we'll break that down tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. All right. See you guys again tomorrow.